SEMA is about you.
Hey Gary, you're on fire! You're on fire, Gary!
This is great. All right, so I've stolen the camera. Honestly, the sun is wicked high. It's the convention center. If you can make it out, the resolution on the camera is probably terrible. But Savage, this is the first time doing SEMA. Here's this big, crazy clown. I don't know, somewhere. Where is the clown? Am I on the clown?
The clown is behind you.
There we go.
You probably have the sign.
I've got the Klein. All right, so Savage is, well, he was unprepared. So he's getting his bag because the level of walking, carrying, and stuff that needs to be transported around to do his job is obviously immense. So, we're gonna be headed over there. This is day numero uno. I got a big fat breakfast in my belly. We got coffee. Greg's over here. I don't know, he's doing calisthenics.
Inhale up, it's for your cool down, and open.
I think he's stretching, getting warmed up for, I don't know, for the SEMA, the sprint to SEMA. Tuesday, hashtag sprint to SEMA.
Hurry up and wait.
We wanted a full-size 1-ton diesel-powered Jeep 4x4 pickup truck, but Jeep doesn't make one, so we built our own at home in the garage. Gladiator 2. How fun. All right, guys. Neil with SFJ4x4.com. And guess who's with us today? Special guest. All right, the lead performance mechanic. He is out of the shop.
Outside bad. The sun's scary. It's not my friend. He wants to hurt me.
He is not behind a weld mask or setting up gears because we are out at SEMA 2022, day numero uno for us. The weather is gorgeous. It's going to be like in the 80s or something. There's not a lot of smog, so we can actually see the mountains. We're enjoying that. There's already some really cool vehicles that we've had the opportunity to look at and kind of, you know, wrap our brain around and, you know, get ideas and see how other people have done things. So the very cool thing about SEMA is just so big, it's hard for people to even wrap their brain around what all is going on here. You have, you know, classic hot rod cars to beautiful show paint jobs to, you know, trophy trucks to just cool pavement princess, big beefy Bluetooth drive shaft trucks. There's really something here for everyone, and you have to kind of remember that maybe it's not to exactly your taste, but there's definitely some good stuff. Now, the only thing that we will maybe a little dog on is if they're done poorly. Just come on, like that's a thing. Like this is the main stage. Bring your A game, bring your best. If you know what I'm talking about, you know that those Facebook groups are out there, those Instagram pictures are there. Kind of nitpicking those things. Now, we're not going to nitpick, but you should, if you're out here, you should be bringing your best. We got a big fat breakfast in our belly. We got to get the Savage credentialed because right now, if not, he's going to be doing all the video from the parking lot while Greg and I go in and enjoy the booth space. We're going to be working with a number of our big product manufacturers and touching base with them, getting that opportunity to touch face to face. When I pick up the phone and I call somebody in California or Boston or Colorado, they're going to be here and we're going to be talking with them. Whether it'll be on camera or not, I don't know, but it's going to benefit us as a business, and ideally we'll bring that content back to you. So I hope that you enjoy SEMA 2022, and you know, make sure you catch all the videos and coverage linked to it. Mint.
Anything to add, Greg?
No, I don't.
see out the windshield. You're just running over all the old people.
It's got an old people catcher on it.
Yeah, it's got an old people catcher on it. Oh, 4xe?
Yeah.
No.
Enjoy the day, gentlemen.
Thank you.
How you guys doing? Where did I got you guys going to?
Southall?
South. Got it. Do you know what happiness is to you? I can't talk about that.
So SEMA, this is the goal here. So everybody sees kind of these hot, crazy builds. I'm going to give you the deep background of things. So what happens at SEMA is during SEMA week, and we're going to be talking about this. During SEMA week, there is actually dose shows happening. There are 2 shows happening. One is actually the SEMA show, which is the one that gets all the press, all the publicity, and everybody's in love with it. The second show that happens that's less talked about by the end user is Apex. Both these shows are happening in Las Vegas. Our registration gets us into both shows. So why is SEMA hot, and why is arguably Apex not? And the thing is, Apex is actually really cool. It's my favorite. But SEMA is about you. It's about the end user. It's about the person who's going to buy that product and put it on their Jeep. It is an event or a show that's open to us as industry professionals to come in and check out what products are available to us to bring to you. So SEMA, the end user, is you. Apex, the end user, is a manufacturer. So Apex is all about being able to make products, and this can come all the way down to like actually casting axle housings, transfer case housings, remanufacturing axles, transfer cases, actual rubber compounds or paint compounds. Say you wanted to make a bushing. You had this bright idea that you were going to make a bushing that nobody's ever seen or heard about. I know it's not the most sexy thing, but it's a relevant thing. You would go over to Apex and you would find a manufacturer who could make you that bushing. That bushings don't photograph well. Remanufactured axles don't photograph well. Fabric for seats in little swatches don't photograph well. Nobody actually cares. What we care about are those sexy, big tired, big flares, lights, all those kinds of vehicle builds, or low slung and slammed to the ground. And so that's what ends up in the magazines, everybody else's YouTube channel, so on and so forth. So this show is so immense, it's so big, it's hard to even put your finger on exactly what is going on at either of these 2 events. But again, SEMA is for you, the end user is the consumer. Apex, the show, is for the manufacturers, and that's the big difference between the 2. We're shooting right now from the South Hall. No joke, we just took a Tesla loop. That's right, the boring company where they actually take these big earth boring circular things and run under the ground. We just took a Tesla loop from one side of the convention campus to the other side of the convention campus. And so we went from the West Hall, where we saw some pretty cool Jeeps and trucks parked outside, to now we're inside the West Hall. Now, this is probably one of the sections that really doesn't get the most publicity. And I'm gonna call it what it is. It is the cheap rubber area. These are all of the tire manufacturers that you may or may not have ever heard of. Some of them are pretty well known overseas. Many of them might be just trying to find their niche and root themselves in the U.S. and domestic market. You're going to find highway and off-highway use tires, big land movers. You're going to see maybe over here this big monster tire that we haven't seen on the market yet, but might end up on some type of front-end payloader, to again, semi-truck tires to little rubber bands. And again, this is like the really, really affordable, sort of hard to pronounce sometimes, rubber tire section. So we'll breeze through here. It doesn't get the most photographed, but obviously it has a purpose. The show is broken up into a bunch of different halls, which are, you know, kind of interconnected. Right now, for us as professionals, there's education events going on, breakout sessions, so that we can kind of hone our craft. You know, if you saw Greg in one of the earlier shots, he's off learning about TPMS, tire sensor technology, tire pressure monitoring system technology. Honestly, you know, most people get in their Jeep, they don't care what that is or how it works. We do. We need to know those things so we can answer those questions for you. So he's off in a breakout session learning all about that. So lots of cool stuff. I hope you're going to enjoy the B-roll. We're going to buzz through here and we'll check back in and talk a little bit more about the show.
Baby. I did it, Coach. I did it for everybody who doubted RBs. I did it for everybody who doubted Skylines. I'm letting you know that the RB God is here. Whoever writes on paragraph got a lot of catching up to do because I'm him and he is not. That's all I got to say. Woo! Get up for Gary King Jr. Are y'all having a good time out there?
That's so big. I want to hear it. Look at that. There's some people's winch cable that aren't that big. Is it hooked up? I'm gonna hook it up to you.
What did he say?
All right, we're gonna let you guys in on a SEMA inside joke, right? So this was a question posed to me by, by a couple people. The idea of what is a Bluetooth drive shaft, right? So Bluetooth drive shaft started as an insult. That's really the number one thing we have to talk about. It started as an insult, where these big four-wheel drive, albeit kind of mega overbuilt trucks were happening, 5, 10, 15 years ago. They got bigger and bigger, four-wheel drive vehicles, and they got to the point where it didn't make sense to have a drive shaft in it. And so those builders weren't installing the drive shaft, and or they have the drive shaft in and the drive shaft simply doesn't work. So they were getting kind of criticized for, hey, you've got this big four-wheel drive vehicle and it flat out doesn't work. All right, that's cool. And we're going to show you what that means, right? At this point in time, the Bluetooth drive shaft has become a joke, right? It's thrown around in different social groups, and it's meant to be fun and just something kind of kitschy, and it does go kind of synonymous with SEMA builds. Now, this whole row largely has drive shafts, so kudos to them. You'll also notice I'm pretty stoked up about this row. These are like old school rides. So big deal here is that's tough to build these. This is not a brand new, less than 5-year-old rust-free, clean, super nice truck that they bought from the dealership and unbolted and rebolted. This is real American steel that had to be straightened, massaged, moved around, and built into what we have here. So we'll show you what the Bluetooth drive shaft, kind of where it comes from. We have this one down here, this little mega truck, which is just super fun. And there's some clip of that, and they actually went so far and they installed little plates. They actually made little laser cut plates and bolted it to the pinion angles, or to the pinions, that actually have little Bluetooth symbols on them. So good on them for just kind of playing into it and joking with that. But we're gonna look at this one. So that one doesn't have any drive shafts in it. This one has a drive shaft, but if you were to actually use it in its current configuration, it just factually wouldn't work. Now, the suspension over here is this really beautiful air ride suspension, and those bags are fully inflated right now. So that means that the drive shaft is at max stretch, or articulation of the drive shaft. It is at an improbable pinion to front transfer case output. It's for show. And the big thing that I had to recognize, many years ago when I started coming to SEMA, was that this is a work of art. This is a painter's canvas. And in its current configuration, we're supposed to enjoy it and appreciate what is here and what went into making it so that it looks pretty and attractive and beefy and robust. There's another cool one back there that actually has like a skull with a welder, like a torch in its mouth. You're not gonna drive that down, the trail. That's okay. It's a work of art, and that's how we want to play with it and use it. They put that airbag back down, and this probably reasonably has 4-wheel drive. So we'll make sure we show you the little monster truck over there and its Bluetooth drive shafts, but that's your insider piece. Bluetooth drive shafts, fun joke. These ones all have them, good for them. But that's where we're at now as an industry. No shafts. No brake hoses. There's no drive shafts. So SEMA is, so there's a lot of people who dog on some of the builds at SEMA. And you look at this, and I gotta tell you, it is beautiful. And there are really cool parts on here, and there are custom parts. There was a vision, there was a dream, and definitely somebody attempted to follow through on it. In order for me to sleep at night, I told myself this was like a painter and their canvas. Not every vehicle has to be a fully blown, high functionality, crazy over the top, muscle, performance driven vehicle.
The transmission housing is empty. Stop blowing holes in my ship!
A lot of people like that. Greg's yelling that the transmission housing is also empty. And the motor is actually just, there's no air filter, no anything like that on it. So good on them for playing with the Bluetooth drive shaft, kind of the joke around that. They got Bluetooth drive shafts front and rear. Pretty much just came in on a trailer, they jacked it up, made it look really cool, and that's what it's doing. So we're, racing chassis. That's what it's here for. It's showing off that chassis. So I'm gonna tell them, hey, good job for that. They're definitely not driving it home. Oh, you guys see the interior.
Oh, grandma's wallpaper.
Right? It is.
This is great.
Just resurrect it and drive it.
What crafty thing were we doing here?
Yeah.
Somebody had a giant hood scoop on
Add
it.
a giant hood scoop. Remove the giant hood scoop. Places the Jeep life takes us. Isn't that outrageous? How do your feet feel?
Yeah, what do your feet tell you?
My feet never felt better.
Do you feel like I warned you enough about all the walking you were about to do?
Yeah, I was ready for it mentally.
You were
mentally ready, physically not really. Should have trained a little bit.
Train a little bit. Next year we're gonna start like a 6-week training series.